One of my favorite content video pieces that's put out each and every year, seemingly, is Steve's update on Team Liquid. If you haven't noticed, it actually has been a part of this channel for, I think, 2, maybe 3 years now. Ever since I started doing consistent YouTube content, I've always reacted to this video in some way, shape, or form. So, to my surprise, okay, this video comes out on, I think it was Saturday or Friday, whatever day it was. Came out that morning, 10 o'clock-ish, and I opened up my phone in bed. Actually, I think it was Saturday because I was sleeping in after being out for Emily's birthday the night prior. And I'm watching it on my phone and just going through everything. It's like, okay, yeah, some parts I agree with, some parts I disagree with. And then I get to the end, and luckily, somehow it had not been spoiled for me on YouTube or TikTok, which I'd opened. And lo and behold, Steve says this.
So that wraps up everything for 2026. There is one more thing, which is I really, really deeply want the approval from one individual in particular, and that is David Shynock. What do you think?
I gasped loud enough that the dogs woke up. Luckily, Emily didn't wake up, so she wasn't disturbed from her sleep. But yeah, we got to talk about this video now, don't we? First, in case you are new around here, because believe me, I saw the subscriber numbers go up after that video was posted. Hi, my name is David Shynock. I'm a former 100 Thieves fan. I cover LCS content, low esports coverage around the world, LCS press. Occasionally, I'll do some interviews as well, but that kind of has faded away as time has gone on. But I post 3 videos a week, every single week here on YouTube, 2 short form videos on TikTok and YouTube every day. I just love League of Legends, and most importantly, love New York City League of Legends. But Steve asked for my unfiltered opinion. Well, he didn't say the unfiltered part, but that naturally comes whenever you're dealing with me. So let's talk about this Team Liquid update video, because there's some juicy bits to this. The first, and I think we can actually keep this fairly short, is the first, and I think this will be a shorter segment than most people are giving it credit for, even though it seems like it dominated the headlines after this video came out, which is Spawn is back as head coach, remote coaching, which I personally, coming into this offseason, said, hey, I would like to see Spawn probably go to a general manager role or something else within the org that's not necessarily head coach. I think it's important for the culture of the team for him to be there 100% of the time, which I completely know he can't be due to the family situation that he has with his son. I get it. Not saying you need to ditch family at all. I just want to make sure he's in the best position to succeed, because I personally love Spawn to death. But Team Liquid making the choice that yes, he is going to remain head coach, which Spawn clarified later is like, hey, that means like 80% of the time I'm there and 20% I'm not. I still think can be an issue, to be very clear, especially when things take a bit of a downturn. If they just so happen to take a downturn when you're not there and you can't culturally commit to it, because it is different talking to somebody face to face than it is on a Zoom call or however the hell they have it set up. I get he has faith in his assistant coach or new assistant coach, aka the Quid Whisperer in Spooks. Great, love Spooks. Been with him for 100 Thieves for what, 2 years now? Helped him out with his golf game. So I love Spooks. Do I think that prevents all the issues that can come with this? No, I don't. But I do think that Spawn deserves credit in the situation that a lot of people were not giving him. You've now seen Jat speak out against this, but the big thing I want people to understand is that Spawn has earned the right, in my opinion, to get another year at remote coaching if Team Liquid has faith in him and wants to put that out there, because I personally believe Spawn is the best coach in the LCS, possibly in the West. I know last year is going to be one of those things where people look at and say, really? Really? You're going to say that after the year that they had? Yeah, I genuinely do. I think that was a roster problem. I think based on what we've heard APA talk about how people would address their issues and then just a week later just have the same problems again. It sounds like it was a player problem. And given how much Spawn has won and brought to this organization, remember, they had not won a title without Doublelift prior to Spawn coming in and building this roster from scratch with Yawn, with Harry, who eventually got subbed out for APA. They go on to win Split 1, I guess it was Spring Split of 2024 LCS and then Split 1 of last year. He's still won a title in the last 2 years. That's amazing. And I think he should be given the credit that he is due. Granted, on a tight leash, where if this goes down a similar path to last year, then we sit here and say, okay, maybe even that 20% remote coaching is a problem. But I think you just have to give him benefit of the doubt of Team Liquid saying that, hey, even if he's not able to be at 100% because he's not here the entire time, 80% or like 90% capacity of his coaching, even if he's there only 80% of the time, is still going to be better than every other coach that we could possibly get for this role and better than everybody else in the league, I trust their opinion on it. They know it better than me. I'm willing to give it a chance. But again, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. But we'll figure that out in the moment as time goes on. I don't think this is as big of a deal as people make it out to be. So on this individual section, yes, you got Dave's approval, Steve. Now for the offseason, where I'll be honest with you, we talk a lot as the community and myself as well, being like, hey, I wish you'd be more transparent with us and talk to us about the things that are ongoing within the team. And then Team Liquid and Steve released this video, and it's really honest in a way that we don't typically get. And I was sitting there thinking, ooh, is this too much information? Nah, I like this. I like this a lot. So the first thing he addressed is the players that are leaving or staying from last year, notably starting with APA, how APA did have a downturn in the middle of the year. And look, I know there's a lot of people who were down on APA because of fearless drafting and some of the issues that came there. I'm still a big APA lover, and I know Steve said he is as well, but obviously he's bringing in the best mid laner in the league. We'll get to that in a minute here. But like APA, I think in Cloud9 could be reinvigorated. We saw this with Fudge on Shopify Rebellion. We've seen it with players. We've seen it with various other players across the league and in the league's history, where sometimes just the right team, the right mix of players, a new change of scenery around you does fantastic things for you. And I still believe that APA can be one of the best mid laners in this league, despite nobody else apparently believing that, and me being on an island, including C9 fans that don't like it. But I love the guy. Was his time with Team Liquid over? Well, the second you can get Quid, yes. Quid is the best mid laner in North America, without a question. Loki was the only one that even somewhat contested him. I know Quad obviously won the title, but I don't think Quad was anywhere close to Quid's level. And with Loki gone, yeah, it's just hands down him and nobody else. So for TL, if you have the chance to get him, you get him. Like, love APA, but you get Quid. I'm sure he even understands that. The transparency around Impact was one that I was just genuinely shocked by. To have the honest conversation that we've all been having for a bit now of, hey, is he past his prime? Is there a potential for him to get back to higher levels, or is his past behind him? And what does the future look like ahead of him? We don't know. I was not expecting him to just come out and say that, but it's not wrong. I mean, I think that's the perception that all of us have. So yeah, like great. The flip side of that is CoreJJ, where we are all having that exact same conversation, but clearly there are intangibles that go well beyond just the play on the Rift, where they're basically saying, yeah, well, even if he does have this little bit of fall off, what he brings to the team otherwise is still going to be better than what, say, Ayla, who I think was a better support than CoreJJ on the Rift, at least during the later portions of last year, or well, technically this year. Yeah, like I think it's fair to say, hey, give CoreJJ an extra year if you want him. But again, similar to the Spawn remote coaching thing, if it becomes a problem on the Rift, the intangibles, unfortunately, don't matter at that point. And maybe you bring him in as an assistant coach or something else from there. But in general, sure, like Core has proven his value to this team. Overall, he deserves his shot. If there comes that threshold that we will all know when you cross it, like it's very apparent when it hits that point, that's when you sit here and say, okay, yeah, it's time to make that call. But for now, hey, I respect the choice. And also, it sounds like CoreJJ is the reason why they got Quid in the first place. So I think like you owe that to them for the transition, and then for some reason, if it goes wrong from there, they can make a change. The whole philosophy, though, of this roster seems to be just building around Yon, which we knew that it was always going to be that. That was going to be the entire focus of the offseason. And with that comes the idea that Steve says is building behind the right data, the right comms, and the right environment. And this comes in twofold. One, the one that I called for a while now. Some of y'all didn't believe me. I said even prior to Inspired saying that, Quid's not that bad. I wasn't really all that impressed with him. That Quid and Inspired to me feel yin and not yang. What is a better metaphor than that? Oil and water? It didn't really feel like a combo that meshed. It feels like Inspired wants somebody that plays well, but I don't get the impression that the two of them would necessarily work together. Maybe they would, but Team Liquid's sitting here agreeing with it, and Spawn retweeted my tweet on it, so that has to mean something, at least. It was interesting to hear Steve specifically say that they passed on Inspired, Because I think the narrative around this offseason, at least whenever the Inspired thing got announced, was, hey, he chose Lion. Did he choose Lion over Team Liquid, or did he choose Lion over FlyQuest because Team Liquid pulled out? That's an interesting dynamic that I'd love to see Inspire either refute or say something about, because that's interesting. That's a juicy tidbit to hear. And ballsy of Team Liquid to put that out there as well, saying like, yeah, like, because now if they get beat by Lion, if TL loses at any point to Inspired, Inspire's just going to look at him and be like, oh, so you thought I wasn't a good fit, huh? Now, granted, the last laugh will come at the end of the year with Worlds, but it provides a very compelling storyline now anytime that Lion plays TL, which we assume that they probably will towards the top of the table in playoffs, because both of these squads seem pretty good. The reason why I say that is because in addition to the Quid move, we do know the two other role announcements that Steve could not say in this video that, I'll be honest with you, are my points of contention. And I know people have seen my tweets, and I saw it in the YouTube comments as well. That comes from Morgan in the top lane, from Bro, and Jose Dioto in the jungle. Now, Jose Dioto, I'm willing to personally give a chance, and I think like he's going to be fine, even though his last time in the LCS was not great. Maybe he got a bit of a refresher playing in the CBLOL, comes back reinvigorated, and brings exactly what you need to pair well with Quid. I think Quid requires somebody that is willing to play a little bit more free and a little bit more balls to the wall, and that I do remember Jose Dioto doing from time to time. So that I do think can be a good pairing between the two, even though I still would have liked to see UG on this team, but they have their internal data over that, and I'm not going to sit here and fight Jose Dioto, who's been in LCS stable for a while. The Morgan one is the one where I know I draw quite a few eyes on this, because there have been a lot of people that do love Morgan and love Bro. And I think there's two facets to this argument in particular. There's the argument of Team Liquid saying that they are building to win right now, and they have an obligation to take the best talent humanly possible, which I'm not going to sit here and disagree with you that Morgan is better than Dokla. Obviously, Dokla we now know is teamless because he rejected the Dig offer but never got offers from DSG or Sentinels, per public statements. The thing to me is that I still think Team Liquid is a favorite to win even with Dokla. And even though Dokla is technically a lesser player than Morgan in most people's eyes, to me, I want to see people win with North American talent. And I know that this unnecessarily goes on TL, because TL is the only team of the top 5 that technically is in the position to be able to do this and pull the trigger on Dokla, who I have an emotional attachment to, because as an Optic fan, you got to start there. 100 Thieves over the years, for those of you that don't know. Yes, I've basically been following Dokla's career, and he's been playing for my teams for the better course of 7 years now. So yes, I'm biased here, and you're not tuning into my channel to get unbiased opinions on this. You're getting my emotion, and that's what makes me the fan that I am right now. FlyQuest obviously was going to go with Gatghost. That was known. C9 was not making any changes with Thanatos. Fudge deserved his spot on Shopify Rebellion. Lion was always going to have Zamudo. That makes sense. It was just TL that could pull the trigger on Dokla this entire time. Now, again, they're focusing on the right data, right comms, right environment. There's a world where Morgan is going to be better for the environment of TL than Dokla. And I can also understand that in addition to the skill thing. It's just one where when you have a top North American player and you're the org that has the chance to pull the trigger on that, I really wish that you would. Am I going to hold that against the org and people out here sitting saying, oh, he would never choose TL now because he just spent all that time bagging on him? You can do things that I don't agree with and still be the best in my graces or not. Like, there's a billion other factors that go into my choice on picking a team separate from like all of this ongoing. So I just want to be clear. No, this Dokla thing doesn't disqualify TL from being the team that I pick potentially, in the same way that FlyQuest, like just their issue with Whippo last year and some of the things there doesn't disqualify them. Whenever I'm honestly, like as a roster as a whole, I'd be lying to you if I said that FlyQuest didn't put a roster that I'm technically more excited to watch on the Rift than TL, because of the developmental aspects of that roster and the insane ceiling that they could potentially hit. Whereas for Team Liquid and this roster that they put together, Morgan, I know he's great in the LCK, but we've seen this cycle with imports as they come over from Korea, especially like the kind of more middling ones. Because let's be honest, this is not getting CoreJJ after he just won a world championship. This is getting a player who was on an 8th place team. Yes, might have been contending for top 4 in his role in the LCK, but it's not the same caliber. And we have seen those types of players come over to the LCS, be good to start, fall down, and then leave. And that's been a pattern that's happened forever, and is one of the reasons why we talk a lot about trying to get North American talent to stay on teams and be prioritized in this situation. So does Steve get my approval for how they are building this team? Well, it's a very Team Liquid roster at the end of the day. I understand wanting to put the best pieces around Quid and Yawn, because you're not going to get, in my opinion, any better than the best mid laner in the league and the best ADC in the league. Period. I still think you can win now with Dokla, but if they disagree with that, then fine. You're not going to get my full approval on this one, Steve. Sorry, that comes with the territory. But you got Quid and Spook, so at least you're good on that front. The final other thing that is mentioned in this video is about their content production restructuring. I'm interested to see what that looks like, because I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch much of Team Liquid's content itself over the course of the year, barring like that Spawn 20 versus 1 video. Love that. Watched it, made a whole video about it, and there were a few other one-off pieces that I did, but some of the like odd stuff I didn't really watch because it wasn't my team. It wasn't like my responsibility to watch that content. I was watching everything that ever came out from 100 Thieves, which when people are like, oh, there wasn't enough content for Team Liquid, just know y'all were spoiled, right? And the fact that you're going to be getting more next year is fantastic. Good for you, TL fans. At least you get something out of that. For 100 Thieves fans, we deserved so much more. That's not a diss at Danny, who was the videographer for 100 Thieves. I know she had to put up with some shit, and obviously wishes she could have done more. But man, more content for TL fans. Oh man, you are lucky. I will say C9, I still think has like the premium model. Like they are like the peak version of what team content looks like for now, and that's only going to get better with Dom now being org side. So that's the pinnacle that TL has to live up to in this moment. Will they top that? I don't know. We'll see. But look, I've rambled enough on this and talked about the video. Overall, I'm genuinely happy with the direction that TL is going as an org. I might have my issue with the Morgan pick over Dokla, but overall, I still like TL as an org. They've done a lot for the New York City space as well. You'll have a vlog on Friday of me going to their Intel event here in New York City that you can look forward to. And to address the elephant in the room, no, I still have not made my choice. And I said this on the LCS report whenever I talked with Cloud about it, but I need to see teams play on the Rift. I didn't even choose 100 Thieves whenever I was homeless from Optic until I had a full split of watching them under my belt. Because there's a lot more that goes into this than just building a roster. It is the org, it is the communication, it is the finances, it is everything. Like I want a stable home and an org that I believe aligns with the majority of my values. I know nobody's going to be perfect. 100 Thieves wasn't even perfect whenever I picked them back in the day, because I'm all about growing a fandom here in New York City and hoping to one day get an annual event here in New York. And I want to see whether I pick TL or FlyQuest or Sentinels. I want that org to invest in my version of fandom as well and try and push for that. We see these road trips for the LEC, for K-Corp, and for Koi. I want to be able to do that here. And that takes a certain level of investment that I need people to believe in that nobody else in the space, quite honestly, has. And it means the world to me that now Yawn has put out a video about this. Steve has put out a video or like mentioned it at the end of a video saying like, hey, would love to have you on board. I appreciate this more than you guys know. Just again, I've got to see it on the Rift because I've got to have that feeling after the game is done, win or loss, like I want to talk about it until I'm blue in the face. And that to me is going to be the final determinant. So you're not getting a decision from me until I've officially had that moment. But I'll be transparent with you when it happens and tell you when it's coming out. I think that's all I can say at this point. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like. If you're new around here and you're not subbed, be sure to subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next video on Wednesday, where we're talking about the League Awards, because there's an interesting hole that's going to need to be filled next year.